It's going to turn up, man. It must be a lot of people interested in this. Like,
I think Kevin's on here too now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Kevin.
What's happening? I'm sick of mugs.
Sick of mugs.
I'm so sick of them.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna start it here, and we're just gonna. I guess we can. I mean, like I said, I'm only seeing one person right now.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Randy here with T-Rex and Printex, and we've got Michael Trainer and Kevin Benito and Matthew on the call as well. Thanks for joining us. Today, a couple things. I want to remind everybody we are going to work towards having a couple live events coming up. One in January around the weekend of the 13th here at Printex, and Kevin will be hosting that, and we'll work out the details as we get closer to or get just past Christmas, and we'll share that with everybody. And then Ken is having a big training event. Ken and Dwight are in Vancouver on the 20th, and so Matthew and I will be there for that event as well. And it will be a long, power-packed weekend for those that really need some high-class training there. So start putting that on your calendars. Michael, today we were wanting to talk mainly about targeting and internet marketing, correct?
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to kind of go over some of the basics of targeting and then obviously any questions you would have. I know we kind of mentioned some of the Power Editor updates, and I think there were some changes. I don't usually use Power Editor. I know a lot of people do. But I think Matthew may have if you have any questions about the updates, we can probably answer them and to the best of our knowledge. Also, there's another cool feature about building custom audiences I wanted to show everybody that I just read about the other day. So it's a really cool feature that Facebook has added as far as building a custom audience tailored strictly to your fan page. So with that, I guess, Kevin, if you want to go ahead and just you can start it off here, and then I can hop in and whatever you don't cover, and I can hop in and kind of show you some of the tips that I use for targeting. I know that was a big need, and people are getting a little frustrated. Some people are just because they're not feeling like they're finding the right targeting. So there's definitely some tips and some tricks that you can use. And again, it's usually what Kevin usually says. It's test, test, test. So just as long as you have that mindset that you're going to have to take some time when you get to your targeting and really test out a lot of things. When you have that mindset, it becomes a little bit easier, and then you can really hone in and find the perfect targeting for what you're trying to sell.
Yep, I'm going to walk through a successful ad from a few months back that I had. We kind of let it run its course, and I'm going to show what we did on that and walk through why it worked and everything like that. I think that'll help a bit. Let's see. I guess I need to be the presenter, don't I?
Yeah, I think if you just click on that share screen, there you go.
All right.
Okay, I can see your
grab that here. Okay. So this ad here, we had 1.3 million reach on this ad. We had 837 clicks. We had a 15-cent cost per click. We spent 17,000 on this ad. And one of the things I want you guys to look at here is the frequency. The frequency of the ad was 2.34, and a lot of people freak out when their frequency goes over 1. And I just want to remind people that when you see a McDonald's commercial, you see that more than once. When you hear a commercial on the radio, you hear it more than once because there's a legitimacy factor in advertising that they need to see you more than once to think that you're a legitimate business. So don't be afraid. Some of my most successful ads have gone on to 3 and 4, especially on retargeting. 3 and 4 frequency repetitions per person, because they see it and they may not buy it the first time, they may not really notice your ad the first time, but it starts catching their eye when they see it more and more. So don't be afraid to have that frequency go up. When you start to see your sales drop off, that's when you may have burned out your audience. But this particular audience, with a reach of 1.3 million, we had a huge audience. So as you can see, we had 4,662 checkouts on our conversion pixel. So we had a whole bunch of shirts sold on this particular campaign, and this was nothing particularly special as far as the ad. And we'll take a look at it here a little bit deeper. We'll get to the next slide. This is the ad set. Now, this shirt is the Cool Grandma, and I think just about everybody has this particular design if you have a family store. It was nothing crazy. This thing had already been running for a couple of years in various websites. So the nice thing about the grandparents niche is that it's a self-renewing niche. Every day there's more and more grandparents created. So it's something that's evergreen, and there are plenty of grandparents out there that have never seen this particular shirt. So even though we had a reach of 1.3 million, we had 3 million impressions. So we really ran this thing to death. Our cost per thousand was only $5.64, and this was on a website conversion ad. So that's pretty reasonable. Our targeting was really complex. We did women 45 to 64 in the United States, and we targeted the broad interest of grandparents. So it was like 7 million people in the audience. We didn't do any kind of crazy tight targeting or anything like that. This ad was so popular that we had a relevance score of 8, which is right here when you do your columns for performance and clicks. Your relevancy score for the ad will show. So we had a relevancy score of 8, which is really good. Anything over 7 seems to really be pretty positive. Click-through rate was 3.86%. So let's take a look at the ad itself, just so that you can get an idea of what we did with it. Okay, so the ad itself. We started off with a question, like we usually do: are you the cool grandma? We hit them with the price, so we're pre-qualifying our audience, and back then we did a $9.95 special with $4.95 shipping. So we gave them the price, and we gave them the link to click to get it. And then we just said all grandma nicknames available, customized for the grandkids' names, no extra charge. Sizes small to 4XL available. Sale price applies to standard white t-shirts, small to extra large. Now, this seems like a lot of information, but it eliminated a lot of the questions that we get, because if we just put in our ad that the sale price applies to standard white t-shirt, size small to extra large, we get a lot of comments below that say, oh, it's too bad you don't have big sizes or whatever. But we have in there that sizes small to 4XL available, so we're pre-answering a lot of the questions, so we don't get a lot of the crazy comments below that we don't have sizes, or we don't have this, or we don't have that. So we have the question, so we're drawing the engagement. We have the price, so we're pre-qualifying. We're telling them what the deal is. We have the link, and then we have some general information that's going to satisfy some of the questions. Our ad image has orange in it, which is eye-catching. We have the hot pink on the design, which is also eye-catching. And then we have the black with the white text, which is easy to read, very clear. The model is actually a younger woman with a jean jacket, but it's hip, and it's the grandmas seem to really like this particular image. So it was a very effective ad image. It looks good on mobile. It looks good on desktop. So that's what we went with. So let's take a peek at what we actually ran as far as this ad set. And if we just do it as an edit here, we can take a quick peek at it. On our placements, only thing we did it on was Facebook. Um, the reason we didn't do Instagram or audience network, anything like that, Instagram seems to have a younger demographic. So for our grandparents' niches, it doesn't really seem to be as effective. So that's just something that we have tested and found. So we stayed with Facebook. On Facebook, we did mobile and desktop on the same ad set. It was just very effective for us. It seems to really keep the costs under control. We did not do that audience network, although we had mobile. What we do now, specifically here under advanced options for mobile devices, nowadays we always click this only when connected to Wi-Fi, because that seems to be when people are sitting around the house, sitting on the couch, or sitting somewhere for a length of time, and they're connected to Wi-Fi and they're relaxing, they seem to be more in a shopping mode. When they're not connected to Wi-Fi, they're probably on the move. They're in the, on the train, or on a bus, or traveling somewhere, and they're just kind of flipping through. They're not really shopping. So we like to get them more when they're sedentary. So that's why we select the only when connected to Wi-Fi. But the targeting itself we did here was really broad, and this was Grandparent itself has 52 million people, but since we were only targeting the U.S. and we only did 45 to 64, potential reach was only 4 million. So we had a huge audience for this, and because we were using a very well-established conversion pixel on this, which was the old Hyanni pixel, we had a good established pixel. It was able to really hunt and find the buyers for us in that audience. The new pixel, it doesn't seem to be as important to have a really established pixel like it did in the old days, but your pixel does get better and better the more hits and the more purchases that are on it, because it can include more and more information about the people in the audience. As far as targeting goes, there's a few things you can do to tighten up your targeting, and especially if you're starting out and you don't have as many conversions already on your pixel. One of the things I would recommend doing first is, instead of selecting when you're optimizing for a conversion, instead of selecting a conversion pixel that would be for checkouts, is I would select an add to cart pixel. And the reason I say that is because you're going to get more people to add to cart than you will that are just straight out buyers. And that's fine when you're starting out, because you're trying to build a database of information, and all of your buyers will at some point have added it to the cart. Now you're going to have more people add it to the cart, because typically 2/3 of your people will abandon the cart. And that's an industry standard. It's about 62 or 63% from what I'm going off memory now of people that abandon carts. So, but all of your buyers will at some point have added to cart. So you're going to build up more information more quickly by starting out with an add to cart conversion instead of just trying to go straight to the purchases. So that's good. You can always change it later to purchases after you get a few hundred in there, and that will be even better, because it'll focus on the behaviors of the people that are strictly purchasers.
Hey Kevin, just a question that I know some probably will have. Is the add to cart pixel something that is already, it's a pixel that Facebook has preloaded, or something that you have to create?
It's just an action that you can add to your standard. It's a standard conversion action that you can add to your pixel code. And I believe a video of that in the members area.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is, I believe there is. So if there is a video in there, go check it out. There's three events that we use in pixels. That's just the regular view content. Just the way it is from Facebook. Then you can add an add to cart action, and you can add the purchase conversion. And those are business and cover all of the pages that you need in your Trex WPs.
Okay.
So definitely check out the training videos in the members area for those. It's not difficult to do. It's just one little line of code that's added. I don't have pixels. I don't have the pixel page up in here, but we can circle back around to that in a minute.
Okay.
Just don't let me forget.
I'll grab that link now for the video.
Okay, cool.
Also, as you mentioned relevancy score, Craig is asking if you have a relevancy score that's lower than 7, what does that mean exactly? Should an ad with no sales with low relevancy be paused?
If you're getting not a lot of interaction, if you're getting low interaction, no comments, no shares, few likes, whatever, no purchases, then you need to look and see what's causing it. If people aren't liking the post and you're just and you're not getting any interaction on it, then it could either be the design, it could be the ad image. So in that case, you'd want to change the ad image to something more exciting, more eye-catching, especially this time of year because everybody's hitting with the flash and the wow. And if you notice on my ad image, although don't save, there we go, the ad image itself isn't anything crazy or special, but it is eye-catching because it's got a good color scheme and it looks professional, as opposed to just having a shirt on a white background that would just blend in. You'd never see it. You need something that's going to have some eye appeal and be eye-catching. I would test it with different backgrounds or different, put it on a model, do whatever. Try some different ad images and see if that's the case. If you're not getting any interaction with your ad, and you've tried different backgrounds and different ad images, then they might just not like the design, in which case you just go to a different design.
Okay. Also, another question just about the purchase pixel. It says, after around 200 sales, would you change an existing ad set to purchase pixel, or would you just create a new ad set optimized to purchase?
I would just create a new ad set optimized, especially if that one's working and you get purchases on it. If it's working, I don't touch them.
Right. Okay.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I see your question, Monique. Are the pricing that was loaded a good price range or not? Those are pretty standard, and just depending on, that's another part of really testing. If you're getting a lot of interaction, and this has happened to me many times, where I'm running a shirt. I have a great ad image. Everything looks great. I'm getting shares, likes, comments. It could be one of the factors, but I'm not getting any sales, or maybe just a few have trickled in. But the engagement on the ad is just unbelievable. Sometimes that could be one of the factors is price point. It may be a good idea to, while you're building up your audience, maybe to just offer them some type of discount just to get them in there, just to get some purchases and get some action on your pixel, and also to get, while you're building your custom audience, just to have them as customers. So don't be afraid to take a little bit of a hit at first, and that's something that you would want to test out. If you're definitely getting the engagement but not getting the sales, it could be a couple things, and that is definitely one of them. And a lot of times people just really like the picture, and they have no interest in buying. So that's where you're trying to weed out, is those people that you can have they really like the concept, and it's eye-catching, and they just, while they're scrolling on their phones, they just hit like because they like it. And that's okay, because what I'm going to show you in a little bit here is that even people that are doing that now, you can catch those people and remarket to them. But I hope that answers your question, Monique.
Yeah, and right now I'm doing, instead of doing the $9.95 cheap whites with shipping, I'm doing $14.95 with free shipping. Oh my gosh, it's what a bargain.
Yeah, those are good ideas, Kevin. And and we've seen you really blow up some numbers doing that. You know, a couple other people right now are doing the same thing, Michael, where they're just putting like the white T-shirt free, just by shipping and handling even, and then they're seeing a lot of them go to the upsell on the hoodie or a dark shirt. But you know, like we all know too, you don't want to do that forever because you want to stay in business.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, one other thing, guys, we haven't talked about this in a while, but I brought it up with Ken the other day. I think for January, we want to try to do another deal of the month. I just haven't figured out the design. I tell you what I'm seeing a lot of is with the with Trump and the inauguration, maybe just I'm doing a lot of inauguration shirts for different people, and maybe we'll come up with a design here and do a deal of the month, you know, for you know, where the T-shirts maybe $3 and a hat, or a coffee mug cheap also, and people can get some traction with that.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, offering free shipping seems to be huge right now. You can, you know, I've got one thing I'm trying to test right now. I'm doing $23.99 on the T-shirt with free shipping. So if I could ever get enough time to actually run a bunch of ads, I would. But what little I've done seemed to sell a few shirts. So just because I'm able to put on their free shipping.
Awesome. Was that it for you, Kevin? Did you have anything else you were going to show them, or?
Yeah, I was going to talk real quick about some targeting that.
Okay.
What am I thinking? I tell you, it's been a long week. All right. Let's go in here real quick and let's talk about some targeting things real fast. There's a couple things you can do now. We can exclude people and we can narrow the audience in Facebook. So some people, when they see this 4 million and they're running a $5 ad, they're like, I'll never, you know, I could run this ad forever. I would never hit them all. But what you can do is you can make your audience more focused by either excluding people or narrowing your audience. And these are two different targeting options. Now, exclude people was actually created because Chevrolet was wanting to advertise trucks on Facebook, and when they were posting on there for pickup trucks, they were targeting all these people that like pickup trucks, but they were getting a whole bunch of negative comments on there by people that were Ford fans. So they went to Facebook, and this is supposedly the way it happened. They went to Facebook and they said, we need a way to exclude people that like Ford trucks and Ford products. So Facebook created this, and this was just strictly for ad agencies in the early days. And they could exclude people that liked Ford trucks. So the way that the targeting would work then is you would pick the people that you want, and in this case it was going to be Chevy, the people who liked Chevy trucks, but they wanted to exclude people who matched one of the following, and for here it was Ford trucks. So they could then, you could go in there now, and you know, people that don't like Ford truck or do like Ford trucks would be excluded from the audience. They had to like Chevy trucks, but they had to not like Ford trucks. Does that make sense? So yeah, so that's a really neat way to narrow your audience down. So you can do that, but when we're in the grandparent niche, it's not so easy to find something that is excludable, but what you can do is you can narrow your audience so that they are grandparents, but they must also like something else. In this case, maybe you want to put in that they like tea spray, so that you know that they are a known t-shirt buyer. Okay? And that shrinks your audience down to 80,000 people. So they like their grandkids, but they also like T-shirts in some way, shape, or form. And you know, you could go in here and put, you know, threadless. Was it thread? Oh no, it was Thread Me Up that went out. Designed by humans, you know, cafe press. You go in there and put all your competition in there, and it'll make a really nice size audience for you. They got to like all this stuff, right? So you can build your audiences out that way, so they have to like more than one particular thing, and it'll tighten your audience a lot. So this way, you know that they're on an online shopper for T-shirts and stuff like that, and they're a grandparent. So that'll give you a more focused audience of known shoppers. And then you combine that with your pixel and the data that you're acquiring with your pixel, and that's going to give you a really powerful audience. Any questions on that?
Let me see if there's any questions here. Would you start with narrowed audiences for new designs or broader?
You can, especially if you're going to be narrowing it down for shoppers. Maybe do grandparents and Amazon or something like that. That's fairly broad. A lot of people buy on Amazon, but that'll tighten it down to where you know that they're online shoppers. There is actually an interest known, or a demographic, I think it is, for online shopping. Yeah. There's a behavior right here. There's a behavior for online buyers, and there's online shopping and online shopping there. So you can do that strictly as online shopping. I prefer to go for individual stores myself. But yeah, it's a good way to narrow your audience down to a manageable size of known buyers.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions about that particular feature? It's a really powerful tool that they've added to be able to do that, because you can really narrow down your audience, especially if you're doing designs with kind of multiple niches in it. So if you're doing like something geared towards a sports team or something like that, and a grandparent, you can really narrow your audience down and find the people that you're looking for, and that number that seems so big at first shrinks down, and that's kind of a more targeted audience, which is really kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of stuff come through that's like grandma. The only thing this grandma loves more than being a postal worker is her grandkids. So we're seeing people that have been targeting jobs and grandparents. Hobbies, only thing this grandma loves more than knitting is her grandkids. So we're seeing a lot of cross niches like that coming through.
And on that also allows you, and I know for me at least, really allows the creativity to start flowing. So if you haven't thought about something like that, and you may not have known about this feature in Facebook, it could really open up just an array of ideas and design ideas that you can go with. I mean, really it's limitless, like what you can do. So it's a good exercise for you to come up with some designs and really kind of research what you're seeing on Facebook and things that are coming across your newsfeed, and it might even help you say, wow, I think this might work, and you can go in here and test it out and see what your audience would look like. And sometimes that's what we would do before we would even start a design of a shirt. We would kind of see what the audience is. We kind of work a little bit backwards to see how good of the audience was before we even market the shirt. So just another idea you have if you're looking for new ideas and new designs.
Yeah, and it's a way to get traction faster. You'll have a much smaller audience if you're going for, crossing a grandparent design with a job or a grandparent design with a hobby, but it's a much more passionate niche because you're hitting on two things. We always say that the more that you can hit that's specific, you get to the point where you can get a creep factor, but if you're just hitting a couple things that's really specific to the person, then it's really good, because it's either humor, a passion point, or you pull a tear-jerking emotion. There's always that pride thing. so when you can combine those, if you can make them laugh and cry, or feel proud and laugh, or whatever at the same time, then you have a winner on your hands. It's when you get so specific to a person that, and we were seeing this in some of those name campaigns, it's like, hey Mike, I know you were born in 1965 and like Mustangs, here's your shirt. That gets kind of crazy, and it gets to be too much. But when you're talking about being a grandparent, postal worker, there's not a creep factor there, because you're not calling them out too specifically, if you understand what I mean. So that's why it's really effective to hit them with jobs and a pride point like a grandparent.
Absolutely. Just kind of piggybacking off the one question about the audiences. Craig was asking, would you start with narrowed audience or broader? He also was following up, what size would you recommend, and just like a minimum or maximum. I don't necessarily think that there's like a number out there. You'll hear a lot of different opinions, and Kevin, what do you say to that when people are asking, like, is there a minimum or a maximum audience? I know we get that question a lot.
Well, not really. I mean, if you had an audience of 10,000 people and 10% of them bought, you're selling 1,000 shirts, I'd be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just depends. There's a lot of tiny niches out there that are really passionate. I mean, a couple of years ago, somebody stumbled into the iguana niche, the iguana pet niche, and just absolutely killed it. Well, I mean, it's not a huge niche. Oh, at our Louisville event, somebody asked about racing pigeons, and I couldn't believe that there's a racing pigeon niche out there. Well, how many people do you think are in the racing pigeons?
I'm going to a racing pigeon event right after the webinar. I don't know what you're talking about.
As soon as we can close this thing down, I'm in the car to meet you there. So, but it's amazing that these micro niches exist, and if the competition's not there, you can do really well. So, there are small niches out there that are very passionate. And, if they're not being marketed to because they're not big enough, then, you don't want to be the only person in a niche, because then nobody's going to be looking for product. But at the same time, you don't want it to be so flooded. I mean, look what happened with nurses after, what was it, Dark Post Profits or whatever came out, and he was talking about the nurse niche, and then like everyone in the world was running that cute enough to stop your heart design,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got flooded. It just absolutely got flooded. Well, that kind of killed it for a lot of people, but there's still plenty of these small niches out there that may have, 15, 25, 30,000 people in it, and you're going to be able to sell a pile of stuff to them.
Absolutely. Any more questions on like audience sizes? Anyone? If not, we're going to kind of move on here. Okay. Really good stuff, Kevin. I appreciate it. I did want to show you guys one thing. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Let's see. Okay. Are you guys seeing my screen? Kevin, can you answer me, or Matt? Or are you still seeing Kevin?
I have screen on, I have.
Okay.
That's it, you got it.
Okay. So you can see mine now?
Yeah, got yours, yeah.
Okay. So as you guys are creating audiences,
Oh, hold on, we're back on Kev's.
I went back to Kevin's.
That's weird.
Unless that was Kev's.
Okay. Figure it out here in a second. Okay, so we can figure this out, guys. Matt, while I figure this out, if anybody has any questions about the Power Editor until I figure this out, feel free to ask that, Matt. If you know of any
Sure.
changes. I know we kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, but if you can just kind of jump in there, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, there's something that I've been thinking about. I don't know if you do it, Kev, but I know a lot of people put their conversion pixel in the actual cart field in T-Rex. Do you do that, Kev?
I put it in business settings.
Yeah, but you actually put it in the cart so that it fires when people hit the cart.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that's quite a good tip for people because it gets that pixel firing much quicker as well.
Definitely need to do that with your add to carts for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean the actual conversion though.
Oh, the purchase conversion?
Yeah.
Oh, I no, I do an add to cart there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We
There
got
you
you.
are.
There we go. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys this. And now, when you're creating audiences, and forgive me if you have gone over this, but I thought this was really neat. When you get to your audiences through your ads manager and you go to audiences, now you can click down here, and when you want to create a custom audience, it's this new thing that Facebook is asking now. It's engagement on Facebook, right? So as you're building up your fan page, you can start now to build an audience with people that engage strictly with your fan page, which is great because usually when you're running, say, a PPE ad and you're getting a lot of interaction, whether it's likes, comments, or shares, you can actually choose a page here and create a list of people who have interacted with your page on Facebook. And that's a new feature that they have. And the benefit, obviously, to that is that you're getting people that are obviously coming to your page for a certain reason, whether you're doing grandma stuff or you're doing sports stuff or you're doing dog, nurse, whatever you're doing. You can now capture those people that are not just clicking on an ad, but actually just interacting with your page. So I do suggest that you start to build up your audience. And at first, it won't be a huge audience. It will be something that will continue to grow. But and it also gives you incentive to probably keep building your page once you want to keep running some page-like ads and just to, maybe do a couple posts and put like $5 behind it and just get some more engagement on it and that will be drawing people in, and you'll be able to actually capture those people into a custom audience, and that you can then run ads to after a certain amount of time after the audience is big enough. Okay, so let's see. For instance, just put this down here. I started one because I'm kind of running like a conservative, like a Trump page, and I started one. I'm just kind of building the page. I'm not even running any shirts off of it or anything like that. I'm just kind of building up a page because it's just it's just a hot topic right now. It's a conservative thing, and people are very passionate. And I just did this just last week, really. And so far it's 1,400 people. But as that continues to grow, that's going to be really good as I continue to build up the page, as I continue to promote posts, bring people in, start talking, getting engagement. That's really what you want, is people commenting and liking and sharing from your page. You're going to be able to market right back to those people, which is an awesome thing. And another thing I wanted to cover is just kind of something when I would try to find certain, so if you're having a problem looking for certain pages targeting, now say if you're going into pit bulls, you can obviously go over to your interest and type in pit bulls. But another thing sometimes you want to do is if you use your audience insights, and sometimes this is a good way to kind of see what the audience looks like before you start running ads. Let's see here. So when I click over to there, I just always want to check, I want to put everyone on Facebook, okay? You can also do people connected to your page or a custom audience. So now you have these three things that you can kind of gauge who your audience is and where they're coming from. So I'll usually start with everyone connected on Facebook, okay? And so you can put in your age limits over here. Let's just start with, I don't know, 34. Let's just do pit bulls or nurses or whatever. I just kind of want to show you guys where sometimes I look for certain interests that may be in Facebook that may just be a little bit more relevant to what you're trying to do. Let's just do 34 through 65. So if I come in down here and I type in interests, let's just say I type in pit bulls. Okay, and sometimes it's one word. So if you can actually click these, and then what you can see, let's take that one out. Like I love pit bulls has come up. You can see, you can add in. Obviously, we have United States is already selected. So you can see right off the bat your demographics of just this one interest of I love pit bulls, of who people on Facebook, what your demographic looks like compared to age and gender right here. And what I like to do is kind of scroll down, you kind of see some of these things that I like to kind of go to the who's kind of liking this interest. You know, it kind of gives you just a kind of a different aspect of who you may be trying to market to. And another thing I like to do is come over here to the page likes. And you'll see top categories, but as you scroll down, you'll start to find page likes. So these are pages that are relevant to your audience based on what you've kind of put in here. Now you can add more interests to here, and it will automatically update. I'm just kind of doing one for now. But this affinity score is kind of something you want to be looking out for. And if for you that don't know what that means, it's just how likely your audience is to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. So the higher the affinity score means the more likely that people are actually interested in that niche or that page. A lot of times people can get put into an interest just by mentioning something on Facebook or liking one post here and there. Maybe they're not just the biggest pit bull lovers, but they saw something that had a picture of a pit bull and something else, and they just liked it for some reason, and so they kind of get thrown into that interest. This affinity score really, once you click on it, it kind of gives you the top affinities. That's what I like to do, is get the ones that are really high and like this. And you'll hear different people say, well, if anything over 15 or under 15 is not that good. I just like to take the top few, and when you have some that are really high like this, you can always test these pages here. Now these are actual pages, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be interests, okay? So what you like to do is just kind of say, if my pit bull is a hero, this is a great one. It's a relevance score is not as high, but as you can see, it's got a really high affinity score. And so what I like to do is just kind of copy that, and I like to kind of come over and just let's see if it's even in here as an interest, because a lot of these pages won't be an interest necessarily, even though they have huge amounts of likes and huge numbers. And so sometimes people get confused on that. So say they want to, and there you go. So something like that was not even in there. My pit bull is a hero, nothing came up. So it also, once you do find something that is in there, so I'm sure I love pit bulls is in there, what it's going to do is it's going to start to make suggestions for you. Okay, so I love pit bulls, and that's got, you know, I already kind of picked women, but if you just have all, and you can also pick your demographic based sometimes off of what you're seeing over here. So it's just another tool that Facebook offers you to really find out beforehand, before you even look for an audience, who are these people that are liking this stuff? Okay, are they women? What are their age groups? You know, what is the likelihood that they're going to like this page? So this is some of the stuff that you can really get in there, play around with, add interest, whatever you may be doing to really kind of find out. Some of the other stuff is location. You know, it's great. It's great stuff. Like you can really get a handle. So maybe you can test. Say interest has a high location in whatever reason, a certain part of America, like Michigan and let's say Ohio, New York, or something. Sometimes you don't have to maybe not even include California. So there's a lot of ways to find out who your audience is, and this is a great tool that Facebook offers before you even start running ads. And I've done it a lot, and I found it very helpful. And sometimes it's easy. You can just go in here and start typing in things, and you're going to get suggestions. But seeing that affinity score could be detrimental, because you just don't want to be marketing to people that are just in an interest because it's a large interest. You want to really try to hone down who you're marketing to. Let's see if anybody has any questions on that. Okay. Anybody questions on that or audience insights? I don't think so.
We got that one from Craig there about a video ad. He's run a video ad, got 130k views. Would this be a good audience to run retargeting to?
Absolutely. I think you can even build a custom audience based off of video ads. Okay, based off of videos. If we go back over and we go over to audiences, okay, when you create an audience, it's going to say create custom audience. Engagement on Facebook. Now if you come over here, you can see create a list of people who have spent time watching your videos on Facebook. So absolutely. So that's what I would be doing. That if you're seeing that video getting that much that much engagement, make sure you start a custom audience so you can retarget right to those people who watch your videos. And video views are awesome. The page that I am running, the conservative page, kind of like a Trump page, every video I post, it just does 5 times better than anything else. A lot of views. It gets more shares. People like it because, Facebook is a visual thing, and I see more videos than anything coming through my newsfeed. So definitely you can do that. That's a great idea to do. You can also do these lead ads where you can create custom audiences off of people that you're just trying to get information. This is a really good tool to get people to just engage interest in what you have. And it's also, you can collect any amount of information that you want. It's great. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Matthew, anything else that you wanted to add? I know that you kind of talked a little bit about the Power Editor updates, and we'll try to find out more about that. Like I said, unfortunately, I don't really use it that often, and I know a lot of people use it strictly just Power Editor. But if you have any specific questions or any issues that you're having, just please, we can do it in the page, or we can, we can always answer them in the group too.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions come in.
Hey, Michael, may I jump in?
Sure.
You go on, Matthew.
One thing I wanted to mention, like we talked. Yeah, I want to mention to the group that we want to open up you and Kevin, your availability, and so if anybody would like to reach out to you guys on Skype to set up an appointment where they can Skype you and you guys can kind of share screens, walk them through any difficulties they're having with their website or any marketing questions, we ask that they just drop you a note, try to set up a schedule. I know you guys are carving out about 3 hours a day each to answer questions and visit with people. So if they can just schedule a time and would like to do that, you guys are available, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Just send me a Skype message, and I'll add you, and we can set up a time and where it works for both of us. And like I said, usually what I find and stuff like that is people just have specific questions, and it's great to, sometimes it's hard to find the answers when you need it, and so those kind of sessions usually go pretty quickly, and you can get your questions answered and get on to running some ads. Okay. Okay, somebody asked, what is a canvas audience? You know what? I don't know what that is. That's a little bit. Kevin, you know what that is? A canvas audience? Create a list of people who have opened up your canvas on Facebook. I don't know if Kevin's still with us. Maybe not. I will find out, but I'll have to look into that, the canvas audience question.
There's one there from Monique as well. She wanted to know what's the best type of ad. I lost it now. What kind of ad to use from building a custom audience?
Well, I mean, building a custom audience really, at first it was kind of it was really just like a remarketing kind of tool. But now that Facebook allows you to, the best kind of ad you can use any ad really, and a great way to do that is once you see your custom audience growing and you want to start testing it, I would test different types of ads. I would definitely test a page post engagement ad or a conversion ad or a clicks to website ad. Test them all and see what's really working best. And that's, start one ad and then create a couple different ad sets with different ad types, and really just kind of I know it kind of gets redundant, but just test. That's the only way to really find out what the best one for you is and what the best one for your audience is. I could probably run a PPE ad off a custom audience that would do really great, and it may not do the same for you. So it's something that you just kind of have to test out a little bit and see what's working. And usually you can find out usually within the first 24 to 48 hours, you can really find out which one is working well, and you never know. Maybe they all start working well, and then let them all go. So it's just a matter of just testing that out. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, I see, Craig. It's the new Canvas ad. Okay. I will drop my Skype name here in the chat in 1 second here. Okay. And Greg Ryder I'm going to put this. Greg has found a link that kind of helps explain the Canvas ad. So give that for you guys. And here is my Skype. Any more questions, Matt?
There's one from Patty saying, could she Skype with me? Yeah, Patty, that's fine. I will send you a Skype contact. I'll send you my Skype details or a request if that's yours.
Okay, great. Randy, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we hop off? I guess not. All right, guys. I think that was pretty helpful. I actually learned some stuff too from Kevin. So Kevin, thank you guys for chiming in. Again, if you have any further questions, this will be recorded, and I will make sure I get the recording up to you guys as quickly as I can. But if you have any questions that we did not answer, you can always go to our Facebook group. And Matthew, can you just drop that in the chat just in case? I'm pretty sure everyone in here is part of that group, but just in case.
Yeah, I'll grab that now.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have any other questions regarding targeting or just need help, we can connect over in the Facebook group, which I think has been working awesome. I'm glad we started that. It's been a lot easier than being at the Skype, I think. So make your way over there. If you have any questions, please use that. I'll get the notifications, and we can usually answer you within a few minutes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're going to hop off. Any more questions, we'll talk to you a little bit later. Have a good one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.